Hey, what's up YouTube? Cedric Harris checking in, and today we're going to be changing the transmission fluid on this 2018 Hyundai Elantra. Now when I say change the transmission fluid, I really mean change some of the transmission fluid, because I think you have to drain it like 3 times to get all of the old fluid out. We're just going to do it once. Before we get started, I should probably mention that I am not a professional, I am not an actual mechanic, and I really don't know what I'm doing, but my car has over 200,000 miles on it, and it shifts like brand new. Okay, so let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need about 5 quarts of transmission fluid. It really only takes about 4, but you're gonna need a little bit extra. You're gonna need some jack stands. You're gonna need a 10mm socket to get the air box and the splash guard undercarriage thing off. You're gonna want some nippers, just in case. Flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver. You're going to want a 24mm socket for the drain plug, which I don't have, so you can also use a 15/16. In my case, I don't have the 10mm bolts holding the under splash guard thing on anymore, so we're going to use cable ties. And you're going to want a funnel and a socket wrench. All right. Before we get this thing up on the jacks, let's get this air box out of here so I can show you where we're going to be filling it up. All right, so you've got a 10mm here, here, and there's another one under here after we remove this air duct. All right, so we got the air duct out of the way. There's just 2 little push pins that you push in here and then it comes out. So you've got one 10mm here, one 10mm here, and another one right here. All right, we'll take those out and come right back. All right, we got the air box out of the way, and if you look in the center of the screen there, you'll see this little fill plug, and I'm not going to get into it, but on most of these Elantras it is hard to get this out without filing a little tiny piece. And if you look really close, I've just barely filed a little piece out of the side in order to get this thing out. I'm not going to get into how to do that. You can figure it out. It's really not that hard. In fact, you kind of don't have to do it if you pull on it really hard when you're yanking it out of there. All right. And you can just pull that out with a standard socket extension. Just give it a little twist to the left and it'll pull right out. All right, now a very important thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is that you're going to want some of these. These are crush washers for the transmission drain bolt. And I will link in the video description where you can buy them. Anyway, you could probably get away with using the crush washer that's already on your drain plug, but yeah, I'd play it safe. You don't want to leak, you know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get under here and I will show you where the drain plug is. You know, I probably should have mentioned in advance that this is not going to be a very complete or detailed presentation on how to do this on your car. So if you're looking for something really detailed, there are better videos, which I will also put in the description of this video. Because I'm going to keep it real. I have to pick my daughter up from school in an hour, so I'm just flying through this, all right? So, all right, let's take a look at this drain plug. All right, that is your drain plug for the transmission right there. You're going to use your 24mm, or in my case, your 15/16 end wrench or socket to remove that. And you're going to put your catch pan under there and let it drain. All right, let's go. We'll loosen this thing up. And this is probably going to be really hot because I just drove the car to Lowe's to pick up some stuff. So you probably don't want to do it while it's hot, but time is of the essence. Oh my goodness, that's hot. All right, here we go. And that does not look great. I mean, it could look worse. I can see some red in it, so that's not terrible. It's all right. We can work with that. All right. And when you're done draining the transmission fluid, go ahead, put a fresh crush washer on, and put the drain plug back in. I don't know how many foot-pounds you're supposed to use for this, but I just tighten it until I feel the crush washer compress a little bit, and I call that good enough. Now that we got the fluid out, here's the part that's a little bit tricky with these Elantras. There is no dipstick for the transmission reservoir. So how do you know how much fluid you have to put back in after you drain the fluid out? Well, you don't know. That's why we're going to have to measure it. So we're going to take our catch pan with the old fluid in it, and we're going to slowly fill it back into this jug that I have here, and we're going to measure out how much fluid we have to put back into the transmission. Now, I only have two hands, so I'm not going to take video of me pouring that into there, but you can imagine what it's like. I'll be back. Okie dokie. So I just poured all the old fluid into this jug here, and I don't know if you can see, you're just going to have to take my word for it, but we have almost exactly 4 quarts here. So that makes it really easy. I'm just going to take a brand new jug of this and dump 4 quarts in there, and then we're good to go. Alright, so now that we've measured out how much fluid we need to put back in, we're going to take our socket extension and put it in this fill plug and give it a 1/4 turn to the left, and it should come right out. I'm going to stop the video because, of course, it probably won't. Alright, so now that we've got our fill plug out, we're going to put a funnel in and fill it up with our transmission fluid. So we're ready to put our fill plug back in, which is just wonderful. The engineers, I love you, Hyundai. I mean, it's a great car. Don't get me wrong, this 2018 Hyundai is a great car. It really is. I'm not even joking. It's just, the engineers could have done a better job on that, I think. I mean, just move it over just a fraction of a hair and it would be fine. All right. So we're going to put our air box back in now. Then we can put the, the splash shield thing on the bottom, whatever it's called, the engine panel, the engine cover, the whatever the hell it's called. We're going to put that back on, take it off the jacks, and fire it up. All right, sorry guys. I'm going to end the video here in just a minute. I got sidetracked while I was down here. I was looking at this motor mount and decided to replace it because I just put this in maybe a couple months ago, but these aftermarket motor mounts are just garbage. So I'm going to take it out and replace it with the original one that I have because it was still in good condition. I just changed it out when I did all the other motor mounts, but this one's total garbage, so I'm going to put the old one back in. So I'll wrap up the video on the transmission here in just a little bit. Okie dokie, and now I've switched out the bottom motor mount. And one thing I should probably mention while I'm down here, at least in passing, is... So, let me find, where is it again? Okay, so there's our transmission drain. Now over here on the front of the transmission, there's this plastic plug. Now, it's been a while since I had to do this, so I don't remember exactly how it works, but if you mess up your measurement when you're measuring out the used fluid, or if you accidentally put too much in and need to figure out, how much you're supposed to do, there's another way to do this. You take your socket extension, stick it in there, and pull this plug out. Well, you've got it jacked up, obviously. And I believe you do this while it's running. I believe you have to do this while it's running, I think. Don't take my word for it. But if the fluid comes gushing out, then you have too much in there. And if none comes out, then you don't have enough in there. And if the fluid just trickles out in a gentle stream, then you have the right amount of fluid and you need to put the plug back in immediately. So if you mess up your measurement on the old fluid, or if you just don't want to measure the fluid, that's the way you do that, I think. Don't take my word for it. Again, I am not a professional. All right, I'm going to put this panel here on the bottom again, and then we're going to call it a day. And I got my new motor mount, or my old motor mount back, so we'll see if that gives me a little bit. The motor was just kind of, I felt like it was a little squishy, you know? This will give me a little bit more firmness. And that is how you change the transmission fluid on the 2018 Hyundai Elantra. All right, let's go start it up. All right, here we go. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. All right, y'all. I hope that was helpful. And if there's anything I missed, just write something in the comments and I'll try to answer it. All right, peace.